Watchin It podcast. On today's show, Robert says torture doesn't not work. Donnell says torture sometimes works. And on Severance, Helena finally exposed.
Yeah.
I'm your host, Donnell, and with me is Robert. If this is your first time joining us, this is a podcast where me and my co-host, we like to dive into some shows and movies that catch our fancy and give a little breakdown. We also like to keep up on the latest news when it comes to entertainment and just talk a little bit about anime, things we like to watch. We do this every week, so if that's something you like, give us a listen. Robert?
Seth.
This was
Seth.
Seth.
Do it, Seth.
Seth. Yeah.
Oh.
Woo!
Yeah.
This was jarring. I mean, it's jarring for
It's
the
interesting episode.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
I will
this
say
this is Severance Season 2, Episode 4, Woe's Hollow.
Woe's Hollow.
Yep.
I will say just, overall, at first, even though this is a very interesting concept for an episode, at first, I'd say for like 60 to 70% of the episode, I was like, this is kind of just meh. Not too much going on. But then that last 30%, I was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Things really ramp up.
They definitely spent a lot of time meandering around
The woods, yeah.
for a show that only has 8 episodes this season.
I think it's 9. I think it's 9.
This is valuable real estate that you're spending on just walking through the woods.
Some big development still. Some big development. So let's jump in.
So this starts out with Irving coming into his innie self.
Yep.
In the middle of a frozen lake.
Middle of a frozen lake.
Yeah.
Dude, I was just thinking about this. Because, their outies had to go there. To where they're being brought in. And so I'm just like, Lou would have to give me a lot of assurances. Be like, so you want to release my innie for the first time ever, or I guess in the case of Mark, Irvin, and Helly, technically the second time. But their first time they wore it wasn't sanctioned, and it was a very small window and a very, even though they didn't know, very controlled structure. Where now it's like, just in the middle of the wild. Their first time seeing the outdoors, their first time dealing with things like temperature. They've never been cold. They've always been in a rail regulated, so they're dealing with temperature.
I mean, they're bundled up pretty good. They got nice coats and
but
hats
still, it's just that's just a jarring experience. I was like, supplies.
Can you imagine you take Audi Mark, and you walk him up to a cliff. Audi Mark is not trustful of Lumen and says, okay, stand on the edge of this cliff.
Audi Mark actually said he woke up on the lake also. And climbed up there.
Gotcha.
Helly said she woke up on the cliff, and then Dylan appeared to have woken up on the cliff too because he just came running out of the bushes. But I'm just like, if I was the Audi in this situation, so we want to do a retreat, as they are calling it, and so we're going to need you to go out to the middle of nowhere in a lake, and then we're going to release your innie for the first time in their lives. Into the wild, not in a controlled environment. Not at all. I'm just like, whoa, guys, whoa.
I love Dylan. He's just outside.
I know.
I knew there was no ceiling.
Yeah. I mean, that's just thinking about this. How many firsts happened for them in this episode? It's like, this would be jarring.
Yeah.
This would be like I said, when they get back to the office, if they're allowed to, every single innie in there be like, you got to tell me about the woods.
Yeah.
Or the this is jumping ahead, or the world's biggest waterfall.
That was ridiculous.
That was great.
The blatant lying is so funny.
This is the world's biggest waterfall.
So they find a TV at the top of the cliff.
Yep.
And it is a video from Milchek.
So
basically saying that they're in a Kier forest, Dieter Kier forest, and they need to go and find a place called the Scissor Cave, where they're going to locate the fourth appendix to the Kier books.
Yeah, and so one of the things we talked about is what time frame is this?
Oh yeah,
and you were like, this is a very 80s TV, which I agree with, but they were clearly using a DVD player.
Yeah,
and they had it was an old fashioned, but they had a DVD player menu, and so I looked up, and it's like DVD players were in the mid 90s, so I'm just like. Yeah, what time? It's so. I mean, I think that's intentionally done. It's intentionally done where we don't know where they are and we don't know what time it is. This Severance exists in this bubble of time and space that you can't define. I mean, it helps play into the mystique of the show. But yeah, just like, yeah, that TV's old, but they have a DVD player with a remote.
Yeah.
And we've seen different things. The cars are older, but then some of the technology is new. It's just like this weird.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Very confusing. So they, first of all, amazing. I love the title screen here.
Yeah.
Where it's just a fade in of the name over the sky. So much so that I screenshot it immediately and made it my background. Fantastic. I usually like to have a background on my computer of whatever current show we're covering.
You had Silo up there for a bit.
Yep, needed to get rid of the Silo. I was just waiting for a good one for Severance, and I got it today.
I think one of those shots from last week's, or was it last week's episode or the episode
There's
before,
a lot of really good
when
shots
Helena,
that
side of the building when Helena's walking through.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of good stuff I could have gotten, but you know, I just gotta feel.
I know you gotta feel the right one. I'm just.
So they decide to go on their walk. They're pointed in. They're told in the video that they'll get assistance.
Yes.
Along the way, they see a person that looks like Mark in the distance on the cliff. Pointing them in a direction.
In the middle of the coal, which I'm just like, if I'm hired to do this, I'll be like, damn it.
So yeah, they start walking through the woods, and every now and then they come up on like another one of them, like Helly and Dylan, and not Irving.
Irving was only allowed in the group. Like, yeah, there was never a solo Irving. And yeah, so after Helena points them, she points them to a cave, which they go in.
Which we assume is Scissor Cave.
Yeah,
I want to know why it's called Scissor Cave.
They go in and they get this book. And this is when I had this kind of thought, is like, the innies are raised in this cult of Kier.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is their whole being and stuff. And so, like, this book, there's no logical reason for this book to be in a cave, for it to have survived. It's obviously like this is all set up and planned for them to go on this journey.
Well, I mean, it's quite possible that Lumen, the Kier family, owns this forest.
Oh, yeah. I think they said the name of the forest was something Egan. So
Dieter Kier.
Yeah.
Or
Dieter
Kier. Egan.
No, Kier.
Okay, yeah.
No, Egan. Egan, Kier is the other,
last name.
Is the first name. No, it's his first name.
Oh, okay.
Because it was Dieter and Kier. But anyways, yeah. No doubt they own this. But what I'm thinking also, like, I started to realize, but I mean, the only wrench in this is Mrs. Selvig. Is the only wrench in this plan. Is I'm like, is anything Kier even real? Or is this all a cult that they've developed to control the innies? Like, outside, like we don't know for sure.
I mean, I think there's a cult thing going on outside too.
Yeah,
but
I'm like, is Kier even a real person?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, because one of the things I was thinking about is you really don't hear, other than from Mrs. Selvig when she talks to other people, you don't really hear about anything about him. And the other thing I was thinking about is a revelation we could have is last episode we had the merging of Audi and Innie Mark. And
sort of.
So
like
it looks like it looks like it's not fully in effect yet. But I'm just thinking once it is, I was like, is Audi Mark gonna be confused about Kier? Because he's gonna be like, what? I think it's gonna be really
interesting to see that explored.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. So they go in the cave, they find the book, they start reading it.
Obscene tale of the two brothers.
Yeah, we realize that Dieter is the twin.
Is Kier's twin.
Yep.
If he's real, once again, I don't know. Is this just a story they made up to? Like I said, I feel like the point of this, because they're on this basically team building thing, but I feel like one of the points of this, and it goes horribly wrong, but is to try to like they just in the last episode or was it the second? No, the last episode where they've all, other than Dylan, because he's pretty well reined in, they all kind of went off the rails with what they were doing. Like Helly or Helena, I'm saying it now. Helena and Mark went off and found the.
By the way, spoilers, everybody.
Yes,
you should absolutely be watching the show and not just listening to us. But this is real spoiler stuff going on.
Huge spoiler stuff.
Speaking of being off the rails and on the rails, I just gotta thank the writers and the directors and the storyboarders for this show. Of like, it's just mostly one story. Yeah, and we're staying in like scene to scene progression is nice.
None of this silo jumping between three different storylines. Like, no, you can settle in with Severance. You can get relaxed and be like, okay.
It's not a debate at the beginning of the Watchin It episode of like, okay, are we going to cover this like based on this character's story and then this character's story? No, it's just the story.
We had a little variation last episode with Dylan, but it was very structured.
Not as bad.
It was very easy to be like, hey, let's just do Dylan's story because none of it interacts with anybody else's story. We can bang that out real quick. Yeah, it's very nice of them.
So while they're walking through the forest, we do get a small conversation between Irving and Mark.
Yeah, after he sees Mark and Helena having a problem. Which I will say, Irving gets suspicious of them, but honestly, the conversation that he happened to be suspicious of was actually pretty normal. Like, they were just kind of like, man, I wonder what's going on. But Irving has shown that one thing is early on when Mr. Milchek is like, they watch the video, and Dylan's like, well, the video said we'd have help, and Irving is like, I wouldn't trust a thing, even video, Mr. Milchek would say. Yeah. And this episode showed very much how much Annie Irving has grown to mistrust Lumen and anybody associated with it up to the conclusion of this episode. Like I said, I put it down. I was like, Irving is the hero of this, because like Dylan is heavily already wrapped in, and as this episode shows, Helena's working her fingers into Mark to get him, on her side, using her womanly ways to seduce him. And I'm just like, Mark, don't fall for it. He falls for it. I do wonder, because there is that revelation at the end. I do wonder how that's going to play out in the next episode.
Yeah. Like the ending has a lot of problems for me in it for sure. But they follow the path while they're reading the book, and they end up at Woe's Hollow.
Yep.
With the world's tallest
waterfall.
Milchek is there waiting for him.
Which was like maybe like 3 stories high.
5. I'll give it 5. But like the tallest waterfall, I think, is like Angel's Falls, and it's like a mile and a half tall.
Yeah, or just Niagara Falls makes that waterfall look like nothing.
Yeah, would be just. I could not handle this. Like if you've been in an office your whole life, you had a brief stint maybe where you were outside.
Mark
for like 15 minutes.
Mark and Helly were both in indoor environments.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're like in the wilderness, and then you see a waterfall.
Yeah. Though that's about to say, like that little waterfall. If there was
a rainbow, it'd be over.
Yeah, I'm about to say that little waterfall would blow your mind. But think about if they had like dragged them to something like Niagara Falls.
Oh yeah,
they wouldn't be able to do anything. Yeah. You would just collapse. Like, yeah, it's just insane.
We didn't mention that there's like they run across a dead animal.
Yeah.
And at first I thought it was a horse's head.
That's what I thought so too. I was like, is that a horse?
But then it clearly had fins.
Yeah.
So it's very weird. And they didn't really give us a good shot of what it was.
Seals are Arctic animals.
Yeah. How would they know what a seal is?
I feel like they're...
How do we know they're in the Arctic?
No, I don't think they're... Like, I feel like they're like somewhere in Colorado is what this looks like.
Or maybe Alaska or something.
Yeah. But no, I was going to say, I feel like they have a lot of knowledge of stuff that they shouldn't. So I feel like there has to be like maybe there's a library down there that they're allowed to read stuff or something, because like there's a lot of things that they like. Even in the last episode when not Bert, I keep calling him Bert, but when Irving gets in the car to drive to Bert's, like it's already unbelievable that someone who's never driven could hop in a car and safely make it to Bert's. But also, I'm like, he wouldn't. If it was by logic, like he wouldn't even know what a car is,
or stop signs, or
and so it's like they have
to
they have to have some internal knowledge, which honestly just sounds like torture. Yeah. If that is true, to be like, oh, I can read about the outside world, but I'm never
there's like in the
it.
Previous season, there's an interesting where they're looking at like the picture, the drawing on the back of the picture, and Helly's like, that's what houses look like, right?
Yeah,
it's very very confusing. So I mean, also like that picture, going back to it in the previous season. Where it's got like the trees and stuff. I wonder if that's like a depiction of this forest and stuff. Yeah, like maybe there's other people who have been ordered.
I mean, so this is just another thought though. Very interesting revelation. Like I said, so there's a lot of firsts that happened in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
But last season, when Mark and Helena stumble into the sheep department, that was their first time ever seeing an animal.
Yeah,
like that. Didn't realize it, but like, they've never seen animals before. Yeah. They've never seen like this is just being severed is just a baffling thought.
So Milchek leads them to a camp, and this is not a camp. This is a glam.
This is glamping.
They are glamour camping,
full on.
Yeah,
I mean the tents have heaters in them and stuff. And They got a theremin.
Oh, dude, I love nothing more than Miss Huang being there playing the theremin while they tell a ghost story. Yeah. It is fantastic.
I hope.
And what an instrument choice too. The theremin is so unused.
100%. But we need some explanation of Miss Huang.
Well, we'll get there. Or that'll be a new season thing.
Because my thing is, I'm just like, where are her parents, and how do they arrange? Like, hey, like one is we still don't know if she's severed or not. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. We don't know if she's severed or not. And the other thing, I'm just like, So, what did they pitch to her parents if she isn't owned by Lewin? Like, yeah, we just want to take your daughter out into the woods. She's going to be hanging out with us, a bunch of adults randomly. She's going to be the only child there, and yeah, it'll be fun. Like, I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, we get a smile out of her.
A
big smile.
We
out of
got
her
a smile out of her.
Yeah. We also skipped over that Irving like kind of corners
Helena.
Helly. Or Helena, or whatever you want to do, and was like, "Hey, what really happened outside?"
Yeah.
You know, like he knows.
And Helly,
he's all on this. He's all on this night gardener stuff.
I do love how he's like a little bit later. He's like, "Tell us about what was he wearing?" And she's like, "What?" It's like the night gardener. I love the night gardener coming up as a thing. I mean, it's so great that even any Irving sees the flaw. I'm like, there's no gardeners out at night to an extent.
Yeah.
But yeah. He confronts her, and Helena doesn't give him anything. She's like, yeah, it was nothing.
So Irving storms off.
Yep.
And then everybody starts to turn in for the night after the marshmallows are ruined.
Yep.
And immediately Mark goes into Helena's tent. I'm like, this is totally. I saw this coming. I'm 10 million miles away.
Yeah.
I'm like, they need a chaperone.
They're teenagers. Not even that. They're kids. Like that's the thing. That's the other thing about Severance. People was like, yeah. As I pointed out before.
Okay. So now with the revelation and confirmation that it is Helena.
Yeah.
It is unsevered.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh no, she arranged all this.
Yes.
This is.
I mean,
I don't know like what the whole goal of the exercise is.
Yeah.
If it is team building or stuff, but no, she wanted to get some alone time with Mark,
to manipulate Mark.
I feel like she could have done that without it being a team event, but maybe it like works out better because it's a team event.
Just to make the most sense. Like, why would Lumen take just them out? She doesn't want to be as always. And that thing is this whole episode, because we get to see a few scenes with her and Mark. And even though everything she says, even though it's like tinged as like thinking about, what their goal is, it's like it's very much her wanting Mark to really think about what he's doing. And if he's like, why is he doing all this for outing Mark, in a sense. But it's very subtle because like she does always
it's like the first episode maybe, or second episode where second episode where she's like, it's not your real wife. Yeah. It's your outie's wife.
Exactly.
Like trying to like dissuade him from exploring the
and she's very much trying to swing Mark. Like I said, it's just to get him under control. But yeah, so Mark goes for a visit and basically just wanted to let her know that Irving hasn't changed his mind and Irving doesn't run the show. And the whole time I'm like, Mark, you should really be listening to Irving. Yeah. This is exactly.
Irving's a man.
Yeah. Irving is on the right trail.
What amazing acting by oh man, I can't remember the actor's name who plays Irving.
Who plays Irving?
John Turturro.
Yeah.
Just, geez. I mean, he did good last scene. Everybody does great acting.
Everyone does great.
John Turturro is just really like something else. Zach Cherry too, who plays Dylan. He's on another level as well. The guy who plays Milchek. Where did he come from?
Ooh.
And what's he gonna do?
Yeah.
What's his upcoming on IMDb? Because I gotta watch it.
I mean,
Trammell Tillman. Yeah. What a name too. That's a good name. Trammell Tillman.
That's a good Hollywood name.
Yeah.
I could see. Winner of Best Male Actor, Trammell Tillman being announced one day.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So they have sex.
Yep.
Unexpected.
Yep.
I saw a kiss coming. But I didn't expect
once
sex.
he came into her tent and they started getting like close to kissing, I was like, oh, this is going full Monty. Like which is just like, like you said, they need a mentor. They need somebody, not a
chaperone.
Because I'm like, you can't. But like I said, this is intended. My thinking of this was like, you're in the middle of the wild. Those tents weren't that far apart.
Oh yeah, poor Dylan.
I'm like, Dylan heard everything.
Oh yeah,
Dylan's lying in bed right now, like.
No, he was taking the noodle to town.
Yeah.
Thinking about his wife at the same time.
That he got to meet for the first time. Yep.
That's so funny. Irvin's like lost in the woods. Yeah. He breaks his torch.
He goes searching for Mr. Milchek. And stuff, which it's interesting because Mr. Milchek and Miss Wong just complete after the fireside
Yeah, they
chat.
peaced out.
They just complete. They're probably like in an RV somewhere, relaxed. Nice and warm, watching some TV.
No, there's a really nice place that they're staying. They're really glamping.
I'm about to say Miss Wong probably playing some video games or something. Like it's complete luxury. They're not doing none of this outdoor in the snow.
Interesting scene. Post coitus. With Helena and Mark, he's kind of questioning her.
Yeah,
and she just says that she hates her outie, which is interesting, knowing that it's Helena.
So I think that's hate who her outie self is. See, I think this was kind of a test because he says what happens is he says, I like why she hasn't told them the truth of what she saw. She hates who she was on the outside.
Yeah,
and then like there's this long pause, and then Mark is like, first he asked, but then like he kind of looks at her and he's like, you know what, I don't care who you are. And I feel like that was like Helena testing to see like, does she have him now? Like when he says I don't care, then it's like, yeah, you have fully fallen in love with Helly, and now I can proceed forward. You know, I have you on a lease and stuff, which is what she's trying to do. We also got a very interesting where he, for a moment, and this is where, because like I said, last episode we got to see that Mark was being unsevered or whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
And so this whole episode I was like, is this any Mark or outie Mark or mixed Mark and stuff? And it like I said, it appears to be a process, because like another weird post-Clotus thing is he briefly sees his actual wife.
Yep.
Afterwards, which I'm just like, mixed Mark, whenever he comes along, is going to have a lot of interesting mental stuff to dig through.
Both of them are going to have a lot of mental interesting stuff to dig through, but it's interesting to see the process, because we just kind of saw what happened with Petey. And Petey was already good on remembering that name, because I did not.
I was like, Petey was also already like far along, like he was apparently like to the point where like his.
I mean, I want to know more about the process, because I remember like the doctor lady was like, "Oh, he wasn't doing what I told him to do."
Yeah, and she also said she's perfected improved the process.
Like, what is the process? Do you need to take pills? Do you need to do meditations? Or something like that. I'm like, you're just gonna send like any Mark in there and like, let that happen? Like, anyway.
I feel like it's a merge. Like, hopefully, the way it plays out, is the merging happens for like, in a sense, any Mark goes away and his memories just get added to outer Mark, because I'm like, if it was the revert, because then if that's the case, then all that's being added to outie Mark is like, I don't know, maybe like 6 months worth of memories, where if it's like any Mark has to take on the memories of outie Mark, it's like, oh, so a whole lifetime of every childhood, all that, like that will destroy your brain. If that's being merged. So I think it's like, slowly I think outie Mark takes on any Mark's like persona and memories, and then any Mark sadly still goes away.
So Irving, he sleeps in the forest, and he has a dream.
Yes,
I didn't really pull anything from this dream. It's just he walks further into the woods. He sees the cubicles. He sees Bert. He sees the Woe lady.
Yep.
But this is the first time any of them have slept.
Yes,
except for Irving. He's done napping.
Yes,
Irving, and he's had a little bit of dreaming stuff, but this would be the first time any of them have really slept and experienced sleep or dreamed.
Else. Yeah.
Could you imagine if you were like, you had been alive with adult consciousness for like 2 or 3 years, and then all of a sudden you fell asleep and had a dream for the first time? I mean, that would be jarring.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I'm not sure if I've talked about this on Talking It before, but like for me, and I've been doing it my whole life, since I was born and all this stuff. But sleep as a concept to me has always been baffling. And I've been dealing with it my whole life. Like, I'm just going to go voluntarily go unconscious and not be in control of my own body for an indiscriminate amount of time until I decide to come back, or unless you set an alarm. Like, sleep is just weird to me. Like, I've said this before. Like, sleep to me is just a weird thing that we have to do. And I've been dealing with that my whole life. Where if this is my first time ever, I imagine I would wake up in a cold, like, what the hell was that?
And they know what sleep is.
Yeah, they do.
In the first season, Mark talks about like, well, you don't actually get to sleep.
You don't actually get to sleep ever. So I just think the first having your first sleep in your adult life, that is just a baffling concept to me.
Like, I feel so refreshed. especially after having sex for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
That would be that's a banner day Mark's having.
I know this is a huge day for any Mark.
Any Mark, yeah.
A lot.
I mean, I'm assuming Helen has experienced all these things before.
Yeah, Helena's been out there. She's been doing stuff.
Yeah, good time.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that she slept with a severed person before as well. I think that's their toys to the Egans.
Could be. Yeah.
So we get the morning, and this is when things really kick off.
Yes.
So
Mark and
wakes
Dylan
up.
wake up.
Yep.
And
Irving and Helena.
So at
are gone.
first, I had a moment where I was like, "How does Mark?" And then I was like, "Oh, he was still in her tent." Which I was like, man, if Irving would have came back to that would have been a huge incident. Because at first I was like, "How does Mark know Helena's missing?" Like he didn't check anything. I was like, "Oh, because he was in her tent and she wasn't there." And then Dylan is saying like, "Yeah, he knows Irving never came back last night." And so they're both like panicked, not sure where they are. And they start calling for Mr. Milchek. And surprisingly, after him being noticeably absent last night, he's like, bam, right there.
Yeah.
When they're calling for him. No Miss Huang, though, so he doesn't show up.
We find out that Helly is at the waterfall.
Yep.
Helena.
Yep. So he's at the waterfall.
Yeah.
I guess probably just having some thinking time. You know,
yeah,
I don't
reflecting on her her night.
Yes.
Her banner. She had a banner night too, I think.
Yeah. She succeeded at her goal.
So do you think they're gonna try and position Helena as I can't think of the word. As a character we should have sympathy for. Because they've kind of been leading to that a little bit where like so it's like she's kind of degraded by her dad.
Yeah, a little bit.
And she really wanted to like sleep with Mark and explore that relationship because it really I think they portrayed it as her being lonely.
I mean I think so. One thing I think you kind of hinted at that I think interesting is Helena's probably raised in a world, especially with how powerful her family is.
Yeah,
that they're above other people. So if Helena has had other relationships in the real world, I imagine it's always been in a situation where it's like she never felt like it was with someone who truly liked her for her.
Yeah.
And so when she was watching that, because we got to see her watching the video of Helly and Mark have that kiss, she felt jealous of Helly.
Oh, yeah.
Because like what Helly and Mark have is something that genuinely developed through getting to know each other and not knowing anything about each other because they don't have any background. It's truly Mark and Helly like each other for who they are, not because of where. Like Helena, probably every guy she's ever known is like, "Oh, you're Helena Egan." Oh, yeah, like trying to win her over and stuff because like they're a powerful family. And so I do think I don't know if I could ever say I'm symptomatic because after watching the first
Donnell does
season,
work good.
after watching the first season and the way she responds to Helly. And then when we finally find out who she is,
she was mean. In the first
really
season.
Makes you. And then even in this season, she's done a few things, or just the fact of how she's manipulating Mark.
But we just saw one side of that, right?
Yeah.
Because we don't know if there was someone standing there with like a metaphorical gun to her head.
I mean, I just don't
recording
think
that video. I don't know
because of how deep we've
interested
seen her interact without. I mean, I see. Like I said, I think for sure.
I don't want to make the argument at this time.
Yeah, for sure her family
just opening the door
weighs over her.
Yeah.
But still, I feel like she's complicit in what they do. Like when she meets with Mrs. Selverick on her own multiple times, like she seems very much like I said. I guarantee that her dad probably has some sway in telling her like I want you to meet with Mrs. Selverick, but she seems very much she's complicit in what her family does. And
for sure.
Without,
I'm just saying, I think they're opening that door to explore
a little bit,
and I wouldn't be surprised.
But
if
even her manipulating Mark is another negative Mark.
Yeah. So Irving shows up at the waterfall, and then immediately
starts questioning about the night gardener again. I love that the night gardener is such a prominent like reason for Irving's division.
Yeah, and he decides he's calling out for Mr. Milchek too.
Yeah.
He decides very rapidly that she is not who she says she is.
I love his wording. I still think it's a leap for him to jump all the way to knowing that she's an Egan, but still I do love his wording when he's like, so if you're not Helly, then who on the outside has the authority to send their Audi in here? And I do like just that realization, like this, not only is Helly/Helena not just somebody. Like I said, I still think it's quite a leap to like where he's like season Egan. I mean, he's right. He is right. But I'm like, Bert, that's some logic. Like, so he could just be someone high up in Lumen. But still, like, I do like how he's just like, he's obviously like, no, there's no way just anybody's outie is.
Yeah.
You're going to be someone of substance. And yeah.
So yeah, he decides to baptize her.
Yes.
In
freezing
snowy water of a pond.
Yeah. Like, and, this is, we talked about this a little bit on
and he's calling, what I didn't understand is why he was calling for Milchek at the same time.
Because he wanted Milchek to turn her back into Helly.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, at first he thought that Milchek didn't know or something, but then I realized, like, oh, he knows that Milchek is involved. He wants, like, he wants Helly back.
But yeah, Milchek gets there, and he's telling him to turn her back, and continue.
And Milchek is like not sure what to do,
and then all of a sudden, Helena says, "Seth, do it."
I love this because it just gave me that confirmation when she says, "Seth, do it." I mean, we already kind of knew, like, and I've been saying for weeks, but it was like, I knew you were Helena. I knew it. When you call him, because that thing is, remember the innies.
I mean, we knew. But they did a good job.
Oh, they did. I still had doubt, even in this episode.
I think there's a lot of people that do not read, and watch, and consume the amount of media that me and you do. That would have been somewhat fooled. And they did an amazing job of making us doubt it.
Because I was going to say, even she was though I've been selling it, there was a part of me, like, I was never 100% sure that it was Helena. I was never 100% sure. And there was a part of me that's like, I'm going to feel like a total doofus if in episode 8 of this season, they reveal that it has been Helly this whole time, and I've been out calling her out. Because, like, I was skeptical. Like, I was pretty sure, but I was still skeptical. Like, they kept me doubtful enough where I was like, this could be Helly.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm pretty confident it's not, but I was like, it
I mean, I think they kind of gave it away a little bit.
But I did feel vindicated.
In the scene where Helly comes in and brings Irving, like, the little snow seal.
Yeah.
There's like a face change that she does where she's thinking about telling him the truth. That, like, okay, he kind of gave it away a little bit, but just amazing acting by the actors. Again, we should get the name. Just give me a moment here. Britt Lower, man, what an amazing actress! What an amazing actress! And for me, she has come out of nowhere.
Oh yeah,
I mean, she's been working for a long time, but I've never seen her. I stopped and
looked her up, and I was like, "Who are you, and why haven't I seen?" And I was like, "Yeah, nothing I recognize from her but she's killing it." And, like, this is such amazing acting because here's one thing. Also, is like, so Helena calls out to Seth and says, "Do it, do the switch," and after that, she does not say any other words. And yet,
that's good.
You can clearly tell.
Oh yeah,
this is Helly.
Yeah,
like, just instantly, you're like, no, this is like, just her acting is so good that without saying one word, saying one word, you can tell, you can see the difference between Helena, who was just here, and Helly. And I just thought that was amazing because I was just like, you could clearly like, oh, that's what's happened.
I mean, the best line in this episode is when Irving looks at Milchek and says, "Do it, Seth."
Well, yeah, because that is another thing.
He's like, he knows that he's Seth.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is that's another reason how we knew once he says that we know it's Helena. Is like, innies don't know Mr. Milchek's first name. Yeah, and so when she says Seth, do it. Like I said, that was the thing for me, the victory of like, it's Helena. It's 100% Helena. There's no way you can say it's Helly now because Helly would never know what his name was. Yeah, I was just like, and that do it, Seth. Frick, like this ending sequence is fantastic.
The first like 75% of this episode was kind of meandering. The last 15 minutes was something else.
Great acting.
Yeah.
And so they do the switch as we said,
which we learn is through the Glasgow protocol.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, is it the protocol or was it the Glasgow block?
Yes, the Glasgow block.
Yeah, and I hope we can learn more about that and what that's going on.
I mean, my thought is
so the Glasgow block. Here's my theory: is not preventing them from being severed.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is an integration. Because it seems that like Helena do too. I guess she watched videos and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Is I feel like Helena. That's one thing I wrote down. Is I feel like Helena studied a lot of who Helly is.
If it does.
What I think the Glasgow block is they make it very clear. Like, yes, there is the switch that you can turn on and off to do this, but they make it very clear that it's just something in the process of going down the elevator or going out that door that on the floor when Helly originally in the first season was trying to escape. Every time as soon as he crosses that door, it switched. So it makes me think there are automatic triggers, and what the Glasgow block does is it blocks those triggers from happening when you. So I don't know why in the wild, but maybe this outside area is also like a area they set up for.
I'm assuming
things.
that they did an overtime contingency on them.
Yeah.
While they're in the woods.
But then how about the Glasgow block work?
Because it's just there.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe. Ooh.
Oh, go.
So because I'm like, maybe the way severed personalities are controlled is through a frequency of some sort.
Absolutely.
Because like we saw last episode in the melding of Mark, it was some weird like getting the frequencies in line.
Yeah.
And so maybe the block, just like so they do the overtime contingency, and the block blocks whatever frequency is pushing through to make them their severed personalities. Yeah. Interesting.
I like it.
So we get
she wakes up.
Yeah, which we have to remember. Like, I think this is one of the most jarring because the last time Helly was alive or awake
that we know of,
was at the big severed conference thing.
Yeah, she was just on the stage.
Yes.
Screaming about needing help. And she wakes up drowning in a frozen
waterfall. I'm just like, that would, that's gonna mess with your mind.
Yeah. Just being cradled by Irving. And I tell you,
I
tell you, Donnell, I say to you now, if I was to wake up suddenly from blackness, if I'm at any moment in my life, and then all of a sudden I transition instantaneously to being drowned in a frozen pond.
Yeah.
I want Irving to coddle me.
Going back to just the acting, because like I really like Mark and Dylan's reactions, and even Irving's when because like I said, Irving is he wants Helena back, or Helly back, and when she does like just his instant change from he was like totally like antagonistic towards Helena, and of course Mr. Milchek. And then when he knows it's Helly, he's just like, I'm so sorry. And it's like that instant change. Like, just everybody acts this part so well.
Such a beautiful scene.
Yeah.
An amazing scene. And
then we get Irving, even though he's, I think we will see more of Audi Irving because he was.
Oh, absolutely.
But any Irving is gone.
Well, we don't know. Maybe he's coming back.
Maybe they'll bring him back somehow. But dude, he goes out like a boss.
Oh yeah.
I was like, one is he won because his whole thing is. I think about multiple things.
So Milchek shows up.
Yep.
And he's like, you are accused and convicted of attempting to kill a colleague.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very big important colleague.
Yeah.
And he's like, you were fired immediately.
Yeah. And not only fired, like when Bert was gone, they had a thing and like people were, but he's like, we're getting rid of everything personal. And he literally says, it will be as if Bert or Irving B never existed.
But that scene where
his look,
Irving
but the thing
just steps up on Milchek. I was like, he's about to attack, but no, he just stares him down.
Because in my mind, I was like, Irving has already had his greatest desire taken from him. And also, it's kind of in a bittersweet kind of way. I even wrote down. I was like, Irving is like, I'm going to be with Bert. Like in kind of like in the great beyond, Bert's gone, and like Irving is like he had lost everything that mattered to him, and he wanted before he left, he wanted A, to get Helly back, and B, to show the others like this is messed up, this isn't right, and like he completed his goal. So when Mr. Milchek is sending him off, he just stares him down and is like, you can't hurt me. What are you gonna take? You're gonna kill me? That's fine. I'll go be with Bert in the great beyond.
He accepted death.
Yeah, I've done what I needed to do. Mission accomplished. So there's nothing you can do and I was like, Bert's just total G.
And the episode ends with him just walking off, and then so the episode started with him being severed.
Yeah.
And the episode ends with him being unsevered.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, and I'd like to discuss that. But let's go back just a minute, and I think it's gonna be fun to explore because he has an exchange with Dylan just before he becomes unsevered, and Dylan's like, "I should have listened. I should have listened to you," because Dylan was like, "I want the perks. Yeah, I want to see my wife." I want to see my kids,
like that night,
all that stuff, and now Dylan's like, I should have listened to you. Yeah.
That night, when there's a dispute between him and Helly at the campfire, he's like 3-on-1. I'm like, yeah, because one is like I said, Helly is Helena, Mark is wrapped around her finger, and even though he doesn't know why, Irving sees that Dylan is fully in on Lumen, and like he's just like and so when Dylan's like, I should listen to I mean, there's just some big Irving succeeding. Just opens so many bigger, like I said, Dylan realizes like there's more going on here, and he wants those perks, but are the perks worth it? And then also with Mark, like Mark pretty much in my mind the night before went over to the Lumen side by falling for Helena and getting thing, and now Mark has this revelation that it hasn't been Helly this whole time. Yeah, like he now knows. Well, I feel like for both Dylan and Mark, it's just like, whoa. We have been giving into the Lumen side, and suddenly we have this revelation like, oh, Lumen has been hiding stuff from us, mainly that our colleague is not who we think she is. And so I think it's going to be interesting for both of them.
Yeah, and Mark just had sex with...
That's what I know.
Not Helly. And Helly's not going to know anything about that event.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's going to be crazy.
I'm wondering, though, if they're going to... So, because, I mean, that thing is, Helena allowed them to bring Helly back to save her life. And so my thing is, like, is this going to be until, like, maybe a rebellion or something? Is this going to be the last time they see Helly? Like, now that Irving's no longer a threat, they can bring back Helena. Yeah. And, like, because it's already it's not like it's going to be something. It's already exposed that Helena or Helly was Helena. So bringing her back isn't going to be a thing. And are they, like, because I was like, yeah, Helly's going to have a lot to tell them. But I'm like, is he going to get the chance? There's going to
be a lot of fallout from this episode.
I'm just like, is Helly going to get the chance? Or are they going to be like, nope, get her. Like, now that Irving's no longer that, get Helly out of here. She knows too much. Get Helena back. And we're just going to tell these outies, these idiots. Like,
I mean, Helly, the innie is broken.
Oh, yeah.
Like, going from learning that she's an Egan to being drowned in a pond, in an icy pond. Yeah. Like, it's over. It's over. I want to know if they're going to deal with the immediate aftermath of Irving being unsevered in the woods with the innies.
Because they made it very clear, and that's why all the innies were in separate locations. I wonder,
because clearly Audi Irving knows some stuff.
Yeah, he knows a little bit of stuff.
And who knows what kind of truth bomb he could drop on some innies.
Audi Irving, which I liked that it, bleeded through. I mean, for different reasons, but, we got to see that Audi Irving was very suspicious of Lumen already. Like, he was doing his own work. And I really do like how Amy Irving, even though they've had no direct connection, just through his own thing, adopted that himself. Even though they don't know it, Audi Irving and Amy Irving had a lot in common. Oh, yeah. At the end there, where they're just both like, something's going on.
What an amazing show. What a beautiful show. What a complex show. Amazing writing.
It is so
amazing
good.
cinematography.
So
amazing
good.
directing.
Acting.
It is the best show ever made. There are a lot of other good shows. We say that a lot,
but this is no joke, though.
Ben Stiller and the other guy. How do we just get the name of the other guy? So amazing. So good.
Yeah. There's nothing more to say after that.
Sorry.
I was like, what do you say after that? It's just
I wanted to go into our thing and the middle thing, and then I just had to reflect on that for a second. I just needed a moment and whatnot. Anyway, if you like the show, you should check out our website, watchinitpod.com. There you can find links to our social media and to email us, watchinitpodcast@gmail.com. We've recently had a change. We have abandoned the Twitters or the X's or whatever they call it now, and we have moved to Blue Sky. You can find us on Blue Sky at Watchin It.
Yep. Twitter is still there right now, but we're going to be setting that down probably.
It's a process. They don't let us do it immediately.
We want to make sure that you guys have time to move over. But yeah, we're within a week, maybe 2, that will be gone. We will be solely on Blue Sky and Instagram. For the time being, we may add some other stuff.
We're also on YouTube. You can also support us on Patreon. And what's the other name of the thing?
Just Spotify.
Spotify. Yeah.
Also, as of today,
we are on YouTube, and I think there's something you can do on YouTube to support us there as well. Yeah.
And also, I did not realize this until today, but I got it updated. We are now on Amazon Music and Audible.
Yeah.
Got that set up. So lots of places you can check us out.
I feel like I got a good voice for. I bet I could do a good like audiobook.
It's not that hard, actually. I was looking into it. Like, you can just submit and apply, and especially for like lower tier books.
I'm not a good reader, bad quality, but I'm a good talker.
Yeah, not bad. I'm not saying like bad quality, but just smaller authors. Like, it's actually like I was reading up on it, and I actually thought about it. Like, you can just apply, and if they like your voice, like and then that's how you kind of work your way up in the game. And you do a bunch of like smaller authors, and then eventually you get noticed, and eventually you're like doing some Terry Pratchett or something.
Why am I not doing that? Terry Pratchett, long dead. All his books have been recorded into audio.
They do re-records and stuff. Because what I was gonna say is Jim Butcher. We've talked about him and his Dresden Files series. They got a new guy for one of his books.
That would be jarring.
Oh, it was. And everybody outcried about it, where they brought back the old guy for all the new books, and the book that they had the new guy for, they re-record. Like, I feel sorry for the new guy because they brought back
I'm sure he's the greatest guy in the world, but like, if you've got a book series that's like 30 books long, and you're listening to one guy for 25 of those books, and then all of a sudden they change it, it's over.
So here's the thing:
it's not cool.
The guy, like I said, that the book that the guy was on, that he recorded for one book, you cannot get that version anymore.
Oh,
like, so I had that version, and I was like,
you still got it?
No, because I deleted it, and when I went to Audible to re-download
that's like a rarity. You could put
I know.
It at auction.
After I got it, I was like, oh shoot, I should have kept that. But yeah, I just thought it was funny. It's like, it doesn't even exist. You can't find confidence. Like, man, I got to suck to be that guy. It's like, I got my chance. I'm going to do a Jim Butcher book, and you do it, and like, and then you just see everyone like, what's up with his voice? I can't stand this, and then to the point that they're like, hey, buddy,
erase you from existence.
We're just gonna, sorry, but we're gonna go back. With
I feel like that guy, like, it sucked, but I feel like he probably understood.
Yeah, probably. And he got his check too, so
Well, we're gonna take a break there. When we come back, we're gonna talk about what we've been watching.
A little bit of news too.
Tell me about the news, Donnell.
All right, so quick bit of news. Our next show that we're gonna be covering, Daredevil: Born Again.
Yeah.
Just as like I said, quick news. All it is not even out yet. Already confirmed. They're working on season 2 of Daredevil: Born Again.
Oh,
yeah, like hasn't even come out, and they're like, we're gonna need 2 seasons. Like, I like that. And another thing,
She-Hulk to show up so bad.
Yeah. Another thing, also, this is just a small.
I mean,
side
I want
note.
everybody to show up.
Yeah.
I am so upset, Donnell. I have been starved of my MCU heroine for so long. The decision by Disney or whatever
to scale back
was a mistake. I have been jonesing for new MCU content for so long.
It's coming. We're getting some this year. We're getting some.
I need movies and shows on like a quarterly basis.
Yes.
Okay? I need one show every quarter.
Yep.
And one movie every bi-quarterly.
Yes.
Okay, I need 2 movies a year and 4 shows a year.
Well, we're getting for sure for this year and next year and probably a foreseeable future after
Even
that.
if they're
We're getting 3 movies a year now.
Because we got what is Captain America, whatever it's called, the movie coming out next month? Or this month? Is it
next
out
month.
Already? Anyway, it's coming soon.
It's not out yet. But
Brave New World.
Which
I'm not excited about. But I'm going to go to the theater and I'm going to watch it. And I'm going to get my fix.
I was about to say, we're going to talk
about it. And whether it's bad or good, I'm going to have, it's going to satiate me. And it's going to have moments.
Yep.
And it's going to expand the world.
Yep.
But
yeah, so this year we get Captain America.
I love the Daredevil stuff.
Thunderbolt and Fantastic Four.
What an amazing... The Fantastic Four trailer looks insane.
Yes.
Not necessarily in a good way.
No.
But it is insane.
Yes.
It is weird. It is a lot. It is like 1950s Fallout kind of weird stuff that they're doing with it.
Yep.
I mean, I'll watch it.
I'm going to watch it too. I'm going with a huge dose of skepticism.
Bated breath, I guess. Is
real quick, back to the Daredevil stuff though. Another thing, this isn't huge news, but Daredevil isn't just introducing Daredevil into the universe. We're also getting Fissile, Punisher in the MCU.
Oh yeah, no, they're bringing Fist. Well, I guess we already got.
We already got Fist, but I really love. There was a moment in time where it seemed like people wanted Punisher to go away. To the character in general.
Who were these people?
Well, he started being associated, and it was dumb. I was like, don't let them take this from us. He was being associated with a lot of the like aggro cop mentality, you know, the over aggressive, because they were using his symbolism, and everyone's like, yeah, you know what, we don't need this ultra violent, and I'm like, that's not the point of like Punisher is there to show that extreme, and also the one thing that people did during the time was like Punisher would definitely be against those kind of cops, like because of he's all and stuff. But yeah, there was a time where like people were like, maybe Disney shouldn't bring Punisher into the MCU. And I was like, no, don't let them win. I was like, no, I want
the envelope, Disney.
Bring him back and have him part of it. And so I love that he's going to be in Daredevil. I hope he shows up in more.
What an amazing decision to like just take the Netflix Daredevil and just bring it into the MCU.
It was so good. It would be.
I mean, it was so good.
Everybody would have been up in arms.
I would like Jessica Jones.
Yes.
That actress.
I'd like
and that character to come in. I would take that Luke Cage.
Let's redo.
Not so much
Iron
with
Fist.
Iron Fist.
Let's try again on Iron Fist.
Iron Fist was a bit of a failure.
All right, Robert.
Crazy stuff.
Tell me about why torture does not work.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it kind of ties into my other thing. So one brief thing. Invincible season 3. So season 3.
Season 3. Yep.
It was. Oh, dude, I was like, I saw it and I was like revved up. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna watch season 5. And I'm like, no, this is season 3.
Yeah.
My God. Is packed. Like the season 1 and 2 are so packed that it made me feel like it's been multiple seasons. And season 2 was a split season, so that kind of messed things up. It's doing pretty good.
Okay.
The music is not there. The music is just not there. It's very sad for me.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of moments where they do music, and I'm like, you're not hitting the notes.
Yeah.
You're not hitting the notes. They're doing some really interesting things and exploring interesting things with like the brother who's growing up and got his powers.
Nice.
Cecil's past.
Is coming out.
Yeah,
okay,
and like
that's nice.
The fracturing of the Guardians, like and exploring a little bit with what's going on with the dad in prison with the guy
Alan.
The alien. Yeah, very good season so far.
All right,
but the music's really hurting me that it's not hitting its plot point. This past week, unfortunately, we can't talk about everything that I've watched because we're going long.
Yeah,
because we talked too much about Severance. So I just want to talk about a 2010 movie that I watched for the first time called Unthinkable. Have you ever heard of this movie?
I have not heard of this
I'm
movie.
surprised by that, Donnell, because the main actor is Samuel L. Jackson.
Okay.
And there's a lot of stuff by Samuel L. Jackson I feel like you haven't seen. At one point, I believe you told me in a personal conversation that you had seen every Samuel L. Jackson movie.
I don't think
so,
because I knew
so far that you have not seen.
I would have never said that because there are movies that he has been in that I have not. I knowingly have not.
You have not seen some of his best work.
Well, let's
Long Kiss Goodnight. We need to talk about Long Kiss Goodnight.
We do need to talk about Long Kiss Goodnight. But before you get on me for not. Samuel L. Jackson,
and this is saying
that's what I'm saying. This is saying something about. I mean, this is why he is a huge actor. Is he has done a lot of work. He has put out a lot of movies.
Yeah.
And I would never say I had seen all
of
Samuel L. Jackson's work because he's put in a lot of work, man.
So Unthinkable. Warning.
Okay.
This is a graphic movie. Graphic. Okay. It is a very good movie, in my opinion. It is one that I think a lot of people should watch, even if they can't handle gore.
Okay.
And graphic violence. It is about first of all, it's a stacked cast. It is a stacked cast. Samuel L. Jackson, Carrie-Anne Moss, Michael Sheen, Stephen Root. It is really good and really well acted and really well done. It is about a man, an American white guy who has converted to Islam.
Okay.
And is upset about...
it's right there.
Yeah, it is upset about what America is doing in the Middle East, and somehow manufactures several nuclear bombs and places them around the country.
All right.
He detonates a bomb and records a video and says, hey, I've got more of these. Do what I say, or don't, or I'm going to blow up the rest of them. And the story starts out with him immediately have already been arrested.
Okay.
And it is the story of his torture to find out where the other bombs are.
Damn.
And it's basically like he is in a black site, and it's arguments between different departments of the government and individuals about, like, is it okay that we're about to do these things to these people, to this guy, to try and get the information? Will the information be valid? All that stuff. You basically got a good cop character and a bad cop character, and how they interact with each other and how they interact with the detainee. And I mean, it's a very bloody affair.
Okay.
It's a very bloody affair.
Yeah.
And it is just really well done, and an interesting exploration on the concept of torture. I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
I don't think we should torture people.
Nope.
But it's like, okay, there's 3 nukes in the country.
Mm-hmm.
He's not talking. Gotta cut off some fucking fingers.
Yep.
That's just the way it's gotta be. If he's not gonna talk, we're gonna at least do something. And if he talks, good. If he doesn't, well, we're in the same spot we were before. What else was gonna work? What else were we gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
And it gets... I mean, you talk about cutting off fingers. That's the first thing they do.
Yeah.
It's cut off some fingers.
It only escalates from there.
Escalates from there. I'm not kidding. Like, I think everybody should watch this movie. I think it's a very good movie, but it is upsetting.
Yes, I can imagine.
The levels to which they go. And Samuel L. Jackson, one of the best roles I think he's played. He does it very well. Everybody in this movie is amazing. Yeah. Tell me about your torture stuff, Donnell.
Real quick, I want to, because we're talking about Samuel L. Jackson and seeing all his movies. So, real quick, one is Samuel L. Jackson, as I think I hit on before, highest grossing live actor out there. Yeah. He's been in over 150 movies.
That seems short to me. I would
and
think more.
Here's the thing. So, then there is a thing. I saw, as you do in Google, when you search something, they give you like other searches that people have done. Has anyone been in more movies than Samuel L. Jackson?
Absolutely.
Yes. Do you want to guess who has been in the most movies?
You got to give me a clue.
Okay.
You got to give me
I'll
a
give
clue.
I'll give you 2 clues.
Okay.
First clue is British.
Okay.
And second clue is passed away recently.
Passed
away. Well, I don't know. I won't say recently. I'll just say not literally.
Peter O'Toole. I don't know.
No.
I got nothing.
Christopher Lee.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see it.
276 movies.
That's the record?
That's the record.
Guinness record?
I don't know if it's Guinness record. It says most movies to Christopher Lee. I mean, I imagine that counts for like starring and co-starring.
What a life Christopher Lee has
I imagine that's like starring and co-starring, because I imagine some of the like more bit player actors who have done like, just where you're just popping up and stuff. I imagine, because like this is how some of them have been in so many TV shows when you're just like playing a generic everyman character.
Yeah.
I imagine like, there's probably a dude who's been in like thousands of movies, but it's always as, side characters. So I think Christopher Lee, they're talking about starring or co-starring.
Fair enough, yeah.
276 films, like to be, but I just thought that was interesting.
I don't think that's fair. I feel like that needs an asterisk. Look, I love Christopher Lee as much as the next person.
Yep.
Fantastic, amazing things he did for us in World War II. Music. Yeah, just a fantastic person.
Yeah.
But like, when you get like pre-1950s, like it's like you were just under contract and you made a movie a week.
Yeah.
Just because they didn't have to spend like 6 months on CGI.
Yeah.
You just pump that stuff out, and the movies were what, 40 minutes long?
40 minutes. Yeah. Still, hey, he gets the record. No. Anyways, so yeah, for me, I haven't been watching too much, but I've been playing. I've been playing a game I've been waiting for a little bit called Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I played the first one. It is a...
hang on, can we pause for a second? Sorry.
Sure.
I hate to interrupt you. The record for the most movies of an actor is Best Flowers in 700 films between 1923 and 1964.
Ooh, dang.
Yeah.
How many? 720, did you say?
She is labeled the queen of the Hollywood extras.
Yeah, I was going to say, whoever holds the true record of appearing in the most films.
What a wonderful woman.
Yeah,
Best Flowers.
Definitely.
By the way, Best Flowers.
Yep.
You are a porn star name.
A little bit, yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah,
Best Flowers.
A little bit.
I show up at the I'm not. We're gonna move on. Robert was going down a weird path right there for a second.
Anyways, so yes, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. One of my favorite kind of styles of games. Another game that I've sunk a ton of time into, Mountain Blade. It is a medieval RPG, but it's like true medieval, not like Skyrim where you have magic, but like no, you just normal dude, sword, shield, that sort of stuff. And this one follows a structured story, but you play as a character named Henry, and you start out as a son of a blacksmith, and in the first game you work your way up from being. And what I love is like you don't know how to read. Like in the game you have to learn how to read. And stuff.
Interesting. So it's like, is there like subtitle dialogue that's just gibberish?
No, just like before, and you don't actually. So that's the thing is, one is you don't have to learn how to read, but it definitely helps a lot in a lot of the missions.
You don't have to.
You don't have to.
That's
and if you don't learn how to read, there's a lot of times when like people will hand you a book or different
this
things.
Seems like this seems like some Fable stuff.
In the early game, you can get books, and it's just like.
For those that don't know, Fable is a video game that had very interesting. Like,
so you learn how to read in the first game, or you can learn how to read in the first game, and you learn how to read fluent, like English, I guess.
Question, point of order.
Yes.
Does your save file from the first game affect your second game? Because I love it when they do that.
No.
Okay.
I'm a little disappointed by that.
Because it's the same character, right?
It's the same character. Okay. The way they do it is they have you basically, in the beginning of the second game, you're riding on a horse and you're talking with one of your friends, and you're kind of reliving your previous adventures from the first game. That's where you answer stuff about whether or not you know how to read.
Okay.
So you do get to incorporate that stuff.
Okay, that's good enough for me.
Yeah,
that's good enough.
You do get to incorporate that stuff, but I mean, one is you could
change.
You could change it if you wanted to. I didn't. I've entered all my stuff as if I was
respect.
Yeah, I mean, I want to keep my character alive. The same with, I mean, in Mass Effect it was seamless, but still, that's how I did it in Snap. I want to be, that's my character. To the point, it's funny. One of the things that people brought up beforehand is, so it's medieval times. In the first game, you're in one region. In the second game, you're in a new region. And something they did for this second game is you get to go to 2 regions, maybe more. Only about halfway through the game.
Double the content.
Well, in medieval times, going to another region is quite you don't just hop in your car or your plane. Like it's a long thing. Yeah. So the fact that you get to go to 2 regions is actually it's kind of nice. But so you don't get to go back to the first region. In the first game, you meet a girl that you can romance and all this stuff. And because it's medieval times, like one is like you're not bringing her with you. You're a knight on a journey. She's staying where she is. And the other thing is like, so you get there and there's other chicks that you can romance, and I'm like, my guy's like you get a chance. You get a chance where like girls will flirt with you, and I'm like, sorry, got a girl at home. Just because I'm over here, I don't have a wandering eye. My guy is straight in there. He's like, got a girl at home. I'm going home to her, and I ain't gonna have anything on my record to tarnish it.
I can just see, because your girlfriend's probably sitting on the couch next to you, and like, what are you gonna do, Donnell? What are you gonna do, Donnell? You gonna cheat in the video game? I don't think so.
But yeah, so it's very, like I said, you get to. I've always said not that I truly want to, but I've always wished I had been born in a time where walking out your front door with a sword was the norm, and that's what you get to experience in this.
Can we sidebar on that?
Yeah.
I have once pondered being alive in like the medieval times. Recently,
I mean, no, it would suck. There's a lot of terrible things.
Yeah. There's a YouTube channel that I've introduced you to that I've been watching a lot of called The History Guy.
Yeah.
He does an episode on the history of toilet paper.
Yeah.
no better time to be alive than right now.
True. 100% true.
I do not want to deal with the toilet situation prior to like 1930s.
So funny
I don't
enough,
want to go any further back than
there
1930s.
is a mission in this game where you're trying to track down this book conveniently, and there's this elusive noble who suddenly nobody can find. But he had the book last, and you like go through all these jump through all these hoops to like track him where he'd last been, and he'd been having stomach problems and all that stuff. Eventually, you find him like what happened is he had the book, he took it with him when he had some stomach problems, dropped it down castles have those suits, and you find him dead because he goes out to find the book himself and digging through all the stuff outside the castle wall.
The excrement.
Yes, and ends up getting he had a cut and ends up getting infected and dying out there. And I'm just like, yeah, medieval time sucked.
Yeah.
But
this sounds like a great story.
It's a great game. The first game was fantastic, authentic and stuff. And this game doing it the same. The torture thing that I was talking about is you have a chance, and talking about whether or not torture works and how you could do things. You have a chance early in the game to torture a guy to get some information, but you also can try to be persuasive and prevent him with opportunity. And that's what I did. I was very much stuff, and I got the information I needed without torture. And I was like, yeah, you torture them, they might just say anything and stuff. So I was like, yeah. But then a little bit later in the game, you get captured, and they torture the crap out of you. But you can choose, and you have to like win some like roll or whatever, but you can choose to be a hard ass and just like not tell them anything. And the thing I hate though is you're captured with two other guys, and one of them gives, even if you stick to your guns and succeed, it doesn't matter, one of them still gives them the information. Like, come on, man. Like, me and another dude held out.
At some point everyone breaks.
But yeah,
everyone breaks.
Just good game. I'm probably about halfway to 2/3 through, loving every moment of it. It's exactly what I like. Like I said, I don't, in real life, no, I would never want to go back to medieval times. It's a sucky time. But getting able to play it, and like I said, most RPGs that deal with, medieval sort of times always are going to have rope. And rightly so. People like magic and stuff. But I just like a true, like, you're just a dude with a sword. You're just, like I said, in the first game, not even a dude with it. You're just a blacksmith. you get a sword, and you have to learn how to fight with a sword, and you're terrible in the beginning. Like, it's a good game. If you're into RPGs, if you're into medieval, I'd recommend it for anybody. I'd say play the first one and then the second one, and it's a good time.
Fantastic. Well, that's the show, everybody. Thank you for joining us this week. Next week we'll be covering season 2, episode 5 of Severance. And we also got our Oscar special coming up, where we're gonna break down every not in detail, but we're gonna discuss the nominees of this year and let you know what our individual or combined picks for this year's Oscar is.
Like our picks, and then also our guesses, because that's not always the same thing. Sometimes I'm like, I want this to win, but I'm pretty sure this is going to win.
True.
So we got that coming up. Not 100% looking. I had said this before. I thought all the movies were under 3 hours, but I just saw that one of them, the Brutal List, is 3 hours and 35 minutes. And I was just like, not looking forward to watching. That's a lot of movie.
That's a
lot of movie. We're gonna watch all of them for you folks. We'll give you our thoughts on them and our picks, as Robert already said. Give us any range reviews, 5 stars. Check out the website. We're gonna be having some changes going on there. We got some new content that will be popping up there. So check out that, and thank you so much for listening. Bye.